Hello, my gorgeous ones. Welcome back to Alicia Budget Beauty. My name is Alicia. I thank you so much for being here. And as the name would denote, I love affordable beauty and fashion, but I also love indie beauty, and I have always been into all types of makeup from low to high end. I do think it's really fun to find affordable dupes or brands that have really great quality that are less expensive, but I do actually try all types of makeup, high to low. So today is such a treat. I am so proud of myself. I wanted to make it a point during my 4-month no buy and no palette buy specifically to really use what I have. So from the months of January 1st to I'm filming on the last day of March right now, I have used a grand total of 60 palettes. 60 palettes in 3 months. So today I'm going to do an extremely quick rundown of each palette that I use. So that's right, that is 60 palettes that I'm going to say something about. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is not an hour long. Let me just say, some of these looks you've already seen on my Instagram. Follow me. Some of these you will see, and then some maybe I don't plan on posting, but let's go ahead and just get into it. So we have a stack of Nomad palettes. Nomad is definitely in my top 5 favorite brands, if not my favorite brand. And I used all of these palettes the last 3 months. So we have the Cartagena palette, the Iceland palette, we have the Whistler Lodge palette, Marrakesh, and we have the America's Parks palette. Now, hopefully by now you've already seen me do a YouTube of the brand new palette that they have coming out that is a tropical palette, but you guys know Nomad across the board, it's so consistent. Like the mattes are always very blendable, they're very pigmented, the shimmers are beautiful. You really cannot go wrong. It's never gonna fail you. So I love these. I love my Nomad. Yes, I love you. Next up, we have 2 palettes. One of these is actually on my eyes today. I'm freaking obsessed with this eye look. So I use the Blend Bunny Surge palette. Blend Bunny is another Texas brand like Nomad. And you guys, if you have not tried Blend Bunny, you need to. You must. If you are a lover of makeup, you'll love it. If you are a novice, you'll also love it because it blends so seamlessly and beautifully. It really does the work for you. What I love about this one is you have cool, you have warm, you have neons, you have muted, you have grungy, you have pastels. I mean, you have the shimmers that are gorgeous, and I highly recommend this palette to you. I also recommend their Dollhouse palette, which is their more neutral palette. Here it is more cool toned, but you have like mauves, pinks, browns, and then you also have shimmers, a few pops of color in here. This is the perfect travel palette. I took it on my San Antonio anniversary trip, and I mean, you can wear this every day. It's so beautiful. Highly, highly recommend that. Now we're gonna do a palette that I didn't like, okay? I hate this palette with a passion. However, this is the Beauty Bay Age of Opulence palette. I will say I've only used it once, so I shouldn't completely write it off. It is stunningly gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. I've never had so much of an issue with a palette in my life. I had to redo my makeup 2 times because it went on beautiful, but within 30 minutes, it looked like I had never put on makeup before. My daughter is 5, and I don't even want to insult her because she's pretty good at makeup. I mean, it looked like I was a 2-year-old that put on makeup. It was awful. Redid it. 30 minutes later, terrible again. It's patchy, it wears off, it creases, it's just, however, I did use a primer I don't typically use. That's the only reason why I'm not just selling this or giving it away immediately. So I'm going to use a different primer. We shall see. But right now, Age of Opulence is my least favorite palette in the last 3 months. What was a good palette that I tried, and a lot of these, you guys, are first impressions. I used a lot of these just one time. So is the Jade Palette. It is enormous. It's also by Beauty Bay. No issues with this whatsoever. I used it for my Ukrainian look that I did. And I used a blue. And blue you would think would get real patchy if that was going to be the formula. But it did really great. It didn't wear off. So I don't know if it's because I used my regular primer and I need to give Age of Opulence another shot, or if Age of Opulence is just atrocious, okay? But this one, beautiful. It's enormous, but if you want a big palette with lots of colors, then I do suggest that. Next up, we have my Gourmand Girls. I absolutely love this brand so much. So this was such a beloved palette that I used during the holidays, that time of the year palette. I've actually used it since then, and I've said before that you really can. I don't think it's like super Christmassy looking in my opinion. Yes, it's got greens, but take away the greens and like that looks kind of like springy right there. Or like right here looks, you know, it's really just this region, or even here. See, I don't know. I don't think it's that springy, but I mean, I don't think it's that Christmassy. Yes, it works for Christmas, but it works for spring too. So highly recommend. Amazing formula. Some of these duochromes in here are very, very special. We also have this, say, L'Amour palette. Duels by the Bunny was the collaborator with this palette, and it is beautiful. It came out for Valentine's Day. I did many looks with it on my Instagram, and I continue to love this palette. I think it's a perfect date night palette because it's like mauves, pinks. You can smoke up the eye with the black, and it's got a really beautiful duo multi-chrome in here. So highly recommend these two palettes as well. Next up, we are gonna go with one of my favorite small indie brands that not many people know about, but you need to, and that is the Saints, Angels, and Sinners brand. So I actually used all of these palettes. A lot of these were sent to me in PR. Actually, I think all of these were. And we have the Over the Moon, beautiful little 6-pan palette, and it's very, yes, like fall, kind of like Halloween, but I think it's also very springy with this like teal and this beautiful like orange, even that green and purple. So beautiful for spring. We also have the Get Lucky palette. I did this for like St. Patty's look. A bunch of beautiful shimmers and duochromes in here. Like her formula, you guys, is in my top 5, I think, favorite formulas you need to know. Okay, so I also used the Happy New Year palette, which is also the Saints palette, just repackaged, I believe. There may be a couple of shades different, but this shade is broken here, and I think it's broken in my Saints. Well, actually, I've got the Saint right here. Let me just open this real quick, and let's do a, yeah, they look the same. Okay, so here we go. They're just kind of reorganized a little bit, it looks like, right? No, then I do have all the shades. Yay! Okay, real-time excitement here. Okay, so I'm missing the middle one here. I'm missing the bottom left one here. One of that was my fault. One of them came that way, but it's okay. These were sent to me in PR, and they are just so buttery, soft. The duo multi-chromes, and then the mattes are also incredibly pigmented. And these two this palette, it's the same. Is the most neutral of all of her palettes. And then we also have a Grateful Heart. This is the one I really like to pair with the palettes that are all shimmer or duo multi-chrome. So here we have like this beautiful like brown burgundy, and then we have beautiful shimmers in here as well. Okay, Next up, let's go ahead and go with Beauty Bakery. We have Breakfast in Bed, and it's an extremely cool toned palette. Very like basically mauve purple, and then this one kind of like bluish shimmer in here. And then we have the Do It for the Gram, a play on words with graham cracker, super cute. Giant pans, kind of like Juvia's Place. And I really like this one. I think the color story is really pretty. I'm just realizing this. You guys, you know the new one from ColourPop that is it The Last Airbender? Please be that. Please be what that's called. I think that's what it's called, right? Anyway, that kind of looks like this. But what surprised me, I didn't realize that there were like duochrome shade in here. Like this one is like a green brown, and this one is like a purpley blue brown. So, and you get a lot in these pans. So I do like this one. This one is not as fun, but if you like cool tones, this might be a good option for you. Okay, we have the Natasha Denona Mini Lila palette. Okay, you guys, I have to be as succinct and quick as possible. I need to try this again, just like the Age of Opulence. Purples are notoriously difficult. However, my Profusion, here, let me just skip over real quick. Profusion tin pans, best $5 you will ever spend. You will not find anything as good as this that's $5, and maybe not even that's $10, $15. Like, these palettes are amazing. And I have a violets one that has a purple that performed better than the purple in this Natasha Denona palette. However, I did use that same dang primer that I used for the Age of Opulence palette. So I cannot conclusively say that it was this, but it was patchy, the purple. But I loved my look. That's the thing. Like, I still really loved the look that came from this. And I'm gonna try it again. And I know that the bigger palettes can be better than these minis, but if this is the Natasha Denona that everyone is so crazy about, I mean, I've had better. I said that, I did. Okay, so we're gonna try that one again, but I'll just skip over to, I did use this Emerald palette for actual St. Patty's Day. I don't think I've shared that on Instagram yet, but I loved that look. It was so good. And this is just a freaking amazing palette. I have 7 of these tin pans. Again, I would pay $15 for it, and they're $5. So if that tells you anything. Also is the Desert Sage palette. I shared 2 looks on Instagram. I said I was gonna share 3, and I did do a 3rd one. I just got off on my scheduling, so eventually I may get that one shared, but this palette is so good. Like, it is, I believe, $14. You get all these shades. I know some people do not like the pan shape. These, you know, they're like, oh, I don't like the weird shapes, and they're little, and I mean, I'm just not that picky, I guess. Like, if it performs well, if it's a good color story, and I think it looks so pretty like this, like, who cares? But I had one shade that wasn't great, and that's this pink here, but I did love the look that came from it. And the green shimmers in here are beautiful. So are the mattes. The mattes are outstanding. So if you don't want to spend a lot of money and you like this color story and you think this layout's pretty, absolutely, hands down, recommend that one. Okay, now we have something that was gifted in Ipsy. It is a Carmella Cosmetics Defiance palette. You guys, this palette surprised me so much. Here's what she looks like. Looks super boring, right? Like, it's neutral. Okay, it reminds me of Urban Decay, which I hate. Yeah, I hate Urban Decay's formula. It's dry, it's lackluster. It's patchy sometimes. I don't like it. So when I saw it, I was like, oh great, a Urban Decay knockoff. You guys, this is so much better. There are these 2 shades in here, this Elevate and Charisma, are gorgeous shimmers. I hate when I film at this time because the natural lighting that comes in is kind of yellowy and muted. If it was like bright white natural light, you'd be able to see a lot of that shine better. But you guys, I've used this a couple of times and I love it. Like, I expected to clutter this when I got it in my Ipsy Open Studios glam bags. I'm keeping it. I really like it, and I'll be definitely watching out for that brand for what else they put out. Next up, we have two Juvia's Place palettes. This is another look that I loved that I haven't shared yet because it's more like fall looking, but I haven't shared on Instagram. But we have the Festival. It is this big pan, and I really love this shade in here and this one as well. Some of these I have not dipped into, but I just really love like the orangey and like mustard yellow in here. And then we also have the Nomad by Juvia's, and this color story I love because it's neutralish, but it's like, it has some cool, it has some warm, it's kind of grungy. It's just, I think it can go well for fall or for spring, even like if a summer like sunflower type of look. But I really, really like this palette. I need to share that look soon. Next up, we have Simply Posh Cosmetics and their Picking Peonies palette. This is another brand that if you have not checked out, you need to. I have all of their palettes now, and what I love about the last three that they've put out is they're very smart about their layout. So they have monochromatic vertically, and then you also have your mattes up here that are light, your shimmers here, and then your mattes that are darker. You can do, you know, these two go together, these rows, these. I mean, it's just so brilliant, and her, like, the formula is so good. Another Texas brand, shout out to my Texas brands, but you guys really need to check out Simply Posh if you haven't. Like, especially those duochromes are incredibly special. Next up, we have the Untamed Sigma palette. This is another thing that I promised to share. I overpromised, I think, on Instagram, but I said I was going to do a final review of this one and the Cinderella palette and kind of like compare and say which one I recommend. So I'm gonna hold off on my full review, but I do like this palette a lot. I think the mattes in this one are really good. And there's some shimmers in here that I have not tapped into, so I want to. I'll say about their shimmers, they are not your wet, like real metallic, ultra, like shimmer bam. These are like your sparkly, like angelic looking shimmers that just make it look like, I don't know, like you're just an angel that fell from the sky and looks amazing. So I do really like this palette, and I love this color story. So overall, I do recommend this one as well. Next up, we have Beauty For Real Golden Hour. I love this palette. I got it last summer and it's incredible. The formula is amazing. The shimmers are beautiful. There's a duochrome in here. The mattes are buttery soft. This brand is very inclusive of age and size, and I can't recommend them enough. I love so many of their products. They're not talked about enough, so definitely go check them out. Next up, we have A Girl From Rio. This is by Vixen Cosmetics, and how pretty is this? I saw this advertised a while back, and then I got friendly with the owner, and so I've liked a lot of the products, the lip products, and then this palette is just so pretty. It's very sunset vibes, very like West Coast. It's just like, you know, where you're overlooking the ocean and the sun is going down, and it's very just romantic and pretty and soft. And it's not like this crazy pigment to these, but they build really nicely. And this is another one that I like absolutely loved my looks from. So I do recommend this one. Next, we have a drugstore, very different from some of these like amazing palette. So we have the Joa Beauty Birthday Suit Date Night palette. Here's what she looks like. Cool tones. It actually reminds me so much of a Milani palette that I had back when I didn't have a ton of palettes, when I had maybe like 12. And I used that mauve cool tone palette a lot by Milani. It reminds me so much of that color story. The thing is, this is another one that as I was using it, I was like, I'm gonna declutter this. Like, this is not Nomad. This is not my Saints, Angels, and Sinners. Like, it's not Perfusion even, that's a drugstore. But I liked my look from this. And so it made me go, I don't have a ton of cool toned, but I probably could dupe this from the Dollhouse Blend Bunny palette, which is like a million times better quality. So maybe I will declutter this, but it's not bad. And it was very inexpensive. And I do like Joa Beauty. It's just, you know, it doesn't compare with some of my others. Next up, we have the Utopia, Ultimate Utopia palette by NYX. So you guys, this palette, I wasn't a big NYX eyeshadow fan, but there is a girl on Instagram that has, she's a makeup artist. She's very talented. And her look was so pretty with this. And she was like, girl, like that palette is better than their other palettes. You need to get it. So I did. And I've honestly only done one look from this. There's a million shades in here. And it was funny because when I got it out, I was like, okay, I'm going to do a warm toned, like brown neutral look. And then I went straight for cool tones and like the bluish, blue, purple, silver. But I mean, if you really look, like here is, you know, pretty cool tones. And then it goes to warmer, back to a few cooler tones over here. It has some like beautiful shimmers in it. So, I mean, this is the look that I did, I got lots of compliments on my stories on Instagram. And it's really, I mean, some people thought this was too pricey at $30 or $34, but you get a ton of shades and it's really good quality for NYX. Next up, we have one of my absolute favorite palettes from the last 3 months. It is the Disney Encanto palette. You guys are waiting for me to sing. I'm tempted to, but some people are so sick of the song. So we won't talk about that song, just in case you're sick of it. But you guys, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry because I love this palette so much. It's probably one of my favorites in my whole collection, and it's not available anymore. I wanted them to restock this. I was hoping, because I was sharing it on Instagram. They restocked a few of their products. I got a blush that's beautiful from the collection as well. And I thought maybe they'll restock this too. They did not. And I'm just so happy that I have it. My kids love the movie. I love the movie. And this will stay in my collection forever. And Olimar, holy moly, quality. Whew, amazing. Amazing. All right, we have the Ambidolish Cosmetics palette. That is the name of the brand, Ambidolish. That's also the name of this palette. It is a very pastel palette here. Very spring, very like Easter vibes to this. So I will say, I've used this twice. And both times the looks were very subtle. It is not a super pigmented palette. There are 3 pressed glitters in here. I don't mind that. I used to mind it, and then I was like, why am I being snobby? I'm just saying that because other people say that. Like, if I want to press glitter, which is not very often, but if I do, I'm glad I have a few in my collection. So that doesn't bother me, and I think that they look pretty. But so this palette it's buildable. You're not going to mess up with it because it's not overly pigmented. It's not my favorite in my collection formula wise, but I do think the color story is really pretty. And I think I might try it over a white base next time to see if I can get these colors to pop a little bit more. But if you don't like overly pigmented and you like pastel, then I mean, it can't get much better than that. And it's on sale, I think, for $20, which is really, you get a lot of shades. Okay, we have another one of my absolute favorite palettes in my whole collection. I'd say the most underrated palette of 2021, and that is the Tres Luce I Am palette. This is the Becky G brand. If you guys don't know who Becky G is, I keep finding out that people don't, and I'm like, this white girl loves her some Becky G. I am married to a Mexican man who, you know, I love my sexy Latin husband, but I do love Latin music, and Becky G is gorgeous. To me, I thought she had one of the best makeup launches for a celebrity or like music artist that I've like ever seen, really. It's so like her brand, this like screams like Latin fun, like Miami. It's the formula. This is my favorite yellow in my entire collection. Hands down. So good. Love this palette. Go get it. Just go get it and then talk to me, okay? Okay, now we have one of my favorite palettes that I tried in the last 3 months, and that is the Dominique Cosmetics Rustic Glam palette. You guys, don't sleep on Dominique's shimmers for sure. This palette, the more I look at it, the more I'm like, it is freaking beautiful. Like, so pretty. And I pulled it out because her new palette that just came out, I really want it. But there are a lot of similar shades in here. So I was like, do I need it? But I mean, this orange, this blue, the shimmers, this is a beautiful like green gold shimmer. Buttery soft, so reflective. Like, this palette is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I can't recommend it enough. Now we have Huda Beauty. We have the Desert Dusk palette. So I've only used this once, but I mean, not everyone, but if you haven't tried Huda Beauty, like the quality is good. The mattes are good. They blend well. The shimmers are pretty. There's nothing really bad I can say about it. I think this color story was my dream color story before I started my beauty journey on like Instagram. This is all I would have needed. But then I started loving cool tones and like greens and blues too. And so while I do think this is beautiful, it doesn't excite me as much as like it would have even like a year and a half ago. But it is a really pretty palette, and I did like my look with it as well. All right, now we have the Dido Cosmetics Persephone palette. This one came in my Ipsy Glam bag. I may actually end up decluttering this. I have their Brick Owl palette. I think it's got an owl on the front. It's like their square pans. It's beautiful. Like, the formula in that is amazing. This one, the mattes are kind of chalky, not very pigmented. The shimmers are a little bit dry. It's a pretty color story. I just, look, I just showed you this one. It has all the same colors pretty much. So I actually think I may declutter this one. I didn't love how it performed. Next, we have the ColourPop Barbie Malibu palette. This palette's so pretty. I had this in my collection for like almost a year, and I finally pulled it out and tried it. I mean, this is summer. This is summer in a palette. Really, really pretty, like perfect by the pool, on vacation, and it's that good, really good ColourPop formula. Now we have Candy Skies by Laura Lee. This is a beautiful like pastel palette, but you also have like berry and deeper purple and this deeper like teal up here. I've only used it once, really liked it. Really great quality, can't say anything bad. I haven't tried all the shades, so I don't know if there's duds in here or not, but I mean, it did not disappoint me for my first try. This surprised me. This is the Jouer Ultra Foil Eyeshadow Palette. Okay, it has all these foil shimmers in here. I mean, I wasn't really sure. I never tried Jouer eyeshadow, and like, this is beautiful. It is like, they are very metallic, very foiled, just like the name says, ultra foil. I really like the packaging. Like, I did have to pick up another palette to create the look if I wanted a matte in it, but this quality is really, really good. And it makes me like excited to maybe try other Jouer eyeshadows. Next, we have two Milani palettes. We have their Smoky All-Inclusive palette that is a face and eye, and we have their Gilded Flora palette. Okay, we'll start with this one. I freaking love this palette. I love it. They do have a deeper skin tone one than this. So if you're a deeper skin tone, you want to try it out, because this bronzer is pretty light. It will be too light for me in the summer, but I like these blushes. I think you could also use them as eyeshadows. They are kind of satin shimmery. This eyeshadow in the middle here blew me away. It is a beautiful, like, it looks silver in here, but it comes off more like a pewter sort of shimmer, and the highlight is like blinding, and the black matte like really smoked out nicely. The Gilded Flora, I definitely have things to say. So they sent me this in PR. I think they changed their PR person, because like then they went MIA and I haven't got anything sent. So I think they changed their PR person on me. But I definitely have things to say. I've seen lots of reviews on this and they seem very half and half. Either people are like, this sucks. There's no pigment. It's chalky. It's powdery. Nothing comes on my eyes. Or they feel like I do, that I think, I mean, is this again, is this Nomad? No. Is this going to be like Glam Light pastel palettes? Like, no. But you can't really mess up. And it can build and build and build and build and build, and it never gets patchy. And for some people, that's what they would need. If they went right in with super pigment, it would get patchy, they would mess up, and it can be built up. And the shimmers were pretty good. So is it my favorite palette? No. Do I think it's complete trash? No. That's how I feel. Okay, we have my Divina. We have singles in here, and I did use some, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you. And I use this for a look that I have not, did I share it? Yes, I think I used it for my Clueless 90s look. So I've only used like 2 of these. I definitely need to use some more, but I mean, how beautiful. Like, this is my first Divina purchase, and I think that they're gorgeous. So I need to play with it more. Amazing quality, expensive, but beautiful. Okay, next up we have Lunar Beauty Palette. So just like, you can tell my 2 favorites. So really, you can tell my 3 favorites, maybe the Saints, Angels, and Sinners, the Nomad, and then Lunar Beauty. I used all of these palettes the last 3 months. So I used Life's a Drag. I used Eternal Eclipse. This is my favorite out of all of them. We use Moonspell 1. We used Strawberry Dream. And then we used Moonspell Volume 2. So I love them. I love Lunar Beauty. It's one of those like Nomad, like now Simply Posh, and probably like Blend Bunny and Saints, Angels, and Sinners. Like it's always going to be good, and I want it all. Just whatever comes out, I want it all. I want all Lunar Beauty. They're all beautiful. The formula is amazing. I love Manny. They are one of the nicest brands to me on Instagram. That goes so far with me. So far. They're so nice and responsive. Always like my story, say something nice. I love them. So then we have the Glam Light Ice Cream Truck palette here, this beautiful pastel palette. I used this for the JoJo Siwa concert. So did my daughter, because she has the same palette, her very own. And you guys, this was a crazy one. This was one that as I was doing it, I was like, I hate this look. I don't know where this is going. This looks gonna be terrible. I'm going to a concert. I wanted this to be good. And then once I put like lashes on and everything else, I freaking loved it. Like, it wasn't anything wrong with the formula. I just honestly am not used to doing a ton of pastels. And they're just different than, you know, deeper shades. So I need to get more used to it. But I mean, Glam Light, I love. Okay, now we have some Sheet Glam. We did the Aries palette. That was all of their Zodiac palettes. Incredible quality for the price. Like, Incredible. It was better than that Natasha Denona mini Lila palette. I said it. Kind of similar color story. Don't come for me. Then we had the Sentries palette, and the more I look at this now, it's very similar to that Beauty Bakery Cool Tone palette. Probably don't need them both. But this is one of the best She Glam palettes I've ever used. It is great. Very inexpensive. I think it's like $8 for all of these. Really, really good. And then we have these three. I've been meaning to review these. I shot it forever ago. They're Chromazone. These are their liquid, like multi-chrome shadows. I really like these. Like, I really want to play with them more as like liners too and do other stuff with them, but they're really, really beautiful. So I'm gonna wait because I'm probably gonna review those on Instagram. So I'm not gonna say too much more, but those are fun. Then we have the Ofra Good to Go Face Eye, all of the above palette. I like this a lot. This is another one of those that if you're in a hurry and you grab it, you're not gonna really mess up. Like it blends really nicely. It doesn't get patchy. Like you could use it for every day. Formula's amazing. It's not like the most amazing palette I have, but it's very reliable and beautiful. Then we have the Blood Moon palette by Wednesday Cosmetics. I had so much fun with this palette. I really like it. It's fun. It is very like Halloween looking, but I like this for any type of like real drama type of makeup I'm doing, or like if I want to do more like, not costume, but just dramatic, fun themed makeup. It's really good. A very small business. Do check her out. Then we have the Kokie Cosmetics Pure Magic palette. I had never tried any of their eyeshadows. I love their eyeliners, are amazing. I really liked this palette. It's not very expensive. It's a beautiful color story and it performed nice. I've only used it once, but I mean, it's inexpensive. It's pretty, it's cute cardboard packaging. Another cardboard packaging, smaller, or not smaller, but less expensive brand is JCat Beauty. This is a Majestic Galaxy palette. They just came out with a bunch of palettes that I think look so pretty, and I've seen some reviews and they're great. So, I mean, you guys, their quality is really, really good and inexpensive. I mean, I really do like this brand. I like this palette. I think it's fun. It's very like neutral with some pops of, color in here, kind of more like fall looking, but I really do like this one. Next, we have this Doe Color palette. I do have a affiliate with them if you want to check it out. If I have any affiliate codes, they will be linked below. Nomad, Gourmand Girls, this one. But this I had so much fun with, and it surprised me a lot. Like I did 4 looks with this. I loved every single look that I did. It's just very like user friendly. Not too pigmented, not pigmented. It blends, like it's fun, it's tropical. So I really do like this. And I love their brushes as well. All right, we're down to the very end, you guys. We have this tiny Shayna B Miami duo I got in my Ipsy. Freaking love this. Like this silver, it looks chunky like a glitter, but it goes on like wet and not like crumbly. It's just beautiful, and I really was surprised by that one. Then we have this Visart. This is the dark edit. I love this color story. It's very like kind of fall moody looking, but Visart's another one that I feel like it's not my favorite formula, but it's again very user friendly, and I don't feel like I really mess up with it, and I always enjoy a look. Then we have the Ciate London, the Editor palette. I like this palette, you guys. I think it's pretty. It's like cool tone and like mainly shimmers in here. There's actually only 3 mattes, but there's like a peachy shimmer in here that is beautiful. I like it. Is it in my top tops. Like, no, but I do like it and I'm definitely going to keep it. And I think it's pretty for like spring right now. Last, yes, very, very last, we have the Patrick Ta Major Dimension palette. So I was recently gifted this in PR affiliate with Patrick Ta. You get free shipping if you want to purchase anything with my link. It will be linked down below, but this is a much hyped, much talked about palette. I may do a more extensive review of this later because I have so much to say. And I just have so much to say. I do think it's beautiful. The packaging is beautiful. It's perfect for every day. Does it extremely excite me? No. But is it a beautiful formula? Perfect for every day, luxury looking packaging? Yes. So you guys, that is it. We made it through 60 palettes in 3 months. You guys let me know which ones you'd like to check out. If you want any more information about them, comment down below. Check out the codes if you want to save some money. And as always, have fun shopping, budget shopping. Bye.